I'm so bored. Amazon library just shopped at HEB for food. I'll be here for a few hours charging my phone, charging my laptop. Right now, the library is closed. They don't open until 12. What else? What else? I'm seeking the death penalty for ese tipo tan puerco. Is inconveniencing me. Is it Andrew? Is it Albert? Is it Alex? Is it Leach? That's 39 years. Anyways, you can decapitate my daughters and sons and rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I think their names are Andrew, Alex, Albert. I'm typing the FBI and this post, NATO, Interpol, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Justice Department States, the International Criminal Court, the U.S. Army, maybe the U.S. Marines, maybe the U.S. Air Force, or the U.S. Coast Guard. Even though the International Criminal Court exists, I'm seeking the death penalty for those that steal my money, that get in the way of me receiving money, that stay in my homes without my permission and steal my vehicles. I've had at least 4 BMWs by 1999 when I was 19 and I've yet to drive them. Because my leech, el asqueroso es el hijo de Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo times like three, take my vehicles and they give them to someone that, whoever will suck his dick, stays in my homes without my permission. I want the homes sold. I didn't want the homes built in the first place. I don't want a relationship with him. He's very disrespectful, very gross. Se cree que mi vagina es intercambiable y da un asco. After every rejection of a trip with him, he would tell me who he would go on to take on that trip instead of me. Mi vagina no es intercambiable. Ese tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. Y la gente que se presta a eso son una asquerosidad. Llevan violando más de 30 años. Ew, ew, ew. Once I'm financially stable, I plan to travel the planet and meet people, ideally polyamorous men. I'm excited about that. I want to shop H&M today. My GoFundMe campaign is gofundme.com/f. So I like my reflection on the window. So the bike. Anyways, and I was just by the rock. Anyways, what else? What else? What else? I want to shop H&M.com today. I miss my mommy, but that's because I see PNC back from here. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can give me money in person through PayPal. It's AR Blue Sky Designs Go. En lo que estoy pensando, straight to my heart, Arlene Lorenzo Art. Shop INTAYIAFAY. I am Tire Shop. My GoFundMe campaign is gofundme.com/f/Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo that's it. I'll say that again. It's gofundme.com/f/Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo. I'm asking for $1 billion through my GoFundMe campaign. It's the most that I can ask through GoFundMe.com in one single campaign. It's small, however promising. I'll be sending my GoFundMe campaign to people through Instagram today and through email. That's mostly what I'll do at the library and document every day. I hope that I don't have to testify in court towards the people that steal from me and get in the way of my life. So I'm hoping that if I post this in real time as it's happening, that it will be useful for a court to kill the people that abuse me in self defense. So I don't have to do it myself. I'm overwhelmed. It's a lot of people already that I would have to kill in self defense. They possibly have guns to people's heads so that people don't give me money. Or I heard decades ago that they would go the discharge route. They're so gross. So they've possibly been terrorizing people, saying shit about my discharge that isn't healthy when it's always been healthy. So el tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad, no sirve. Hillbilly, worse than a hillbilly, a socialite. Wanna be times like 3 or 4. No han aprendido ese nombre o si aprendieron ese nombre no me interesa. El tipo es un puerco. So I don't ever want that near me. Once I'm financially stable, I plan to travel the planet and meet people ideally date polyamorous men. I'm excited about that. What else? What else? What else? I miss dating. I miss Kaylani. I miss dating. I miss Kaylani. And I miss providing for dating Kaylani. I love taking dating Kaylani shopping, and I love shopping for myself and dating Kaylani. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I think their names are Andrew, Alex, Albert, whatever his name is. Doesn't matter to me. I don't live my life for him. So I'm laughing at the leeches that possibly thought that I won't seek the death penalty for them porque cuando una mujer está enamorada de un hombre no lo matan ni en self-defense. I don't love him that way. In a fantasía, nena chiquita, they must stay attached to the man. Cuando él no, yo no le importo para nada a él porque he's willing to starve me, to kill me. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. Y eso no es amor, eso no es respeto hacia mí either. El tipo es una basura, just taking, trying to take advantage of me. What else? Y yo no me dejo. What else? 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 El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. I don't ever want that near me. Anyways, the library will open in a few minutes. And I'm excited about a yogurt for myself. What else did I buy? Breadsticks, dark chocolate caramels, and some. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Eating pizza later. I want to eat a first watch, however, I don't have money for. You can decapitate whoever says, well, then don't give her money so she goes back to Haven for because it's closer to there. I need a home. Those leeches that I grew up in my vagina for them to rape, they don't even have sex. What they do is rape. Ew, 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 ew. Ellos son animales que se le trepa encima a la gente. They don't have sex. They don't know what respect is. Ew, 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 ew. What else? 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 I'm so bored. I'm so bored. What else? Yes. So it's here. What else? Oh, there's only one though. Does this charge my phone?
Yeah, it started and everything. I just got to put air in it and get it going. And I'm looking at it. But I'll let you know. Yeah, definitely.
My pig is so disgusting. So inconvenience of the library's always. I'm sleeping in real time. What's on my mind? You can decapitate them on the services of some that make me assume money. Anyways, there's the so I'm charging my phone at the library. You can give me money for food. I'm about to run out. My next option is to get established from camp so I won't die, but I'm gonna be very inconvenienced. And what else? I'm visiting the library. Downtown Central Library then. Got these. Getting pizza later. Possibly Royal Beavers or the one craving and pizza from South Florence. And I won't do one. I have coffee and Royal Beavers. I'm gonna play a board game with Jaden Kalani right now. What else? 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 There's Charlotte. I want to read a book. And make all that PhD is pretty. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. I have $20 for phone. I need to pay for my phone today. Oh, $42.47 for food today. So I'll possibly eat pizza at South Florence Pizza later. I love the vegetable. So cream with pasta. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? And I'm getting coffee at Royal Blue Rosary. So $42 for food today. I won't die. What do I have to push them? $116 and 61 cents. Possibly getting a fiction notice soon. So I'll head over to Haven for Hope. Most likely will continue to share my campaign with people so that people give me money. I own homes in Puerto Rico, however, I don't have the key to it. Mostly everyone in my family portion is stolen from me, so they don't know la cara. They hear the keys to your home because they possibly have stayed in them without my permission, while disrespecting me and Jada and Kehlani. So they're like, oops, I'm gonna have to let her die because she doesn't ask me for who has the key. They're disturbing. They're so gross. Yeah. You can decapitate me how many insiders and citizens that rape me. That's the only money and get in the way of me receiving money. I think their names are Andrew, Albert, Alex. What else? What else? What else? I don't remember who it was that I said yesterday. I can send. Oh, that was kind of science code. I don't know how. There was an event, some Tampa baby event, where he got pregnant like everyone that assisted to that event, possibly. Porque tipo un puerco. Una basura trying to get my attention and stealing my money and then wasting it. However, he most likely overpopulated the planet in the past 20 years for raping people. Trying to find people to hate me and to steal my money. I want to. What was that? Tampa Tornado Dormant. Tampa Bay Baby Rush. Where was that? I'm gonna try pizza's there. Well, I haven't seen that gentleman in a while. It was a haven for home. El primo de todas, menos mi primo. Or lover boy de todas, menos mi lover boy. So they have like people that they post fucking comment those snitches. And I see them around like, oh, or maybe a colleague of my parents 9 years ago. Or a victim of my family fortune. What else? What else? What's the menu dormant right now? This internet is very slow. So the followers of Tampa Bay Baby Rush. The items. Pero los already. People some puerco, what an inconvenience. Pero the burger is beautiful. You can decapitate by how many sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They're social like wannabes. So yeah. Kona has been to McDowell Air Force Base in a few events. I guess I own that too and I wasn't aware of it. But that's how I approach him. Like, for years, I think I'm going to pay for this. I'm going to pay for this. I think in my mind, without saying that out loud. Or nice venture, so you slur, whatever. Did I get from wisdom? Possibly. It was free for the adults too. They went around like Dell at first base. And there was another event, possibly a Hyde Park. I don't know that too. Like cross references, Buddy Brew is at McDill Air Force Base, and then they're at the Oxford Exchange. There's no such thing as poverty at a military base. Chick-fil-A was there. I was mocking this new incident. This was like, what else? What else? What else? What else? Like, guys, there's free food here. So, como esa gente le lame casi el culo al que está haciendo la comida. Por un free sandwich. Yeah. Dan un asco, gente, dan un asco. Oh, damn, make this memorable for me too long. or I have to click on it. Cancel menu. Oh, there's nothing there. I can put over here and get an idea. In-store pickup. There's stuff on my computer. Did I have the roasted Doritos? There's Caesar salad. What did I have here? Pollen, the pollen. No one. Maybe. Definitely burger, I think. The backyard burger. White pizza. That also sounds so good. I'm so bored. There's the menu. On that page. Funny financial account later on a visit Jaden came on. Intern for next week. Protecting my breadsticks like someone's gonna pop from them automatically. You can decapitate my homie and sort of sons of sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. It's April 1st, 2025. Anyways, I didn't get to have breakfast today. I don't have money for food. Yo que decapitate la leche y el leche que se queda en mi casa sin mi permiso, que me roba mi dinero, que me roba mi casa, que me roba mis vehículos. You can decapitate Jennifer Money Vasquez. You can decapitate Ginny Gendalidis Lorenzo Suarez. You can decapitate Carolina Chavez. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo Sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of my resentment. So, this is nice. This is nice. For real. One, I didn't know what else. I want to visit the beach next month. Oh, it's only in Tampa. The lowest of the low, this one there is the lowest of the low. They took me hostage in my own bedroom decades ago. They steal my money and then get in the way of me receiving money thinking that they have first dibs on my vagina. They're disgusting. You can decapitate me, her means what it says the sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. What beach do I want to visit? Also, it's just thinking. Probably that one in Pinellas. I don't want to eat. Possibly coming in Pinellas. How far is just thinking from Wesley Chapel? What kind of thing didn't Kanani with me? An hour and 32 minutes. My vehicle. Very dull. And what is it? Pinellas Park. 20 minutes. Why is that? An hour and what? 10 minutes. An hour and some minutes. It doesn't show the full. Oh, an hour and 1 minute. Oh, that's fine. That's what I thought. The same similar amount of time to get there. Different directions. Where would I visit? Either one. Where would I eat Sarasutan? Restaurant. There's a Hyatt. There's a restaurant that I ate outside of the. Oh, that wasn't in Sarasutan though that I stayed. It was a little bit further. There's a Hyatt. So where was that? Anyway, Sarasutan restaurant. What is that they have on Del Mayre that they have couches and they sell wine and beer? Over there with Edgar. What is there? Orange earring, I think. There's a lot to do on Del Mayre. Monkeys with cameras is what they are. That's why I don't post what they do with the money that they steal from me. Ever. They're monkeys with cameras. They're so disgusting. People call them that. Monkeys with cameras. Trying to document what they do with earnings money that they steal from her. Thinking they're funny and that they won't seek the death penalty for them. And I'm like, no, that needs to go straight to the FBI, to the Interpol. I want nothing to do with these people. I have a life of my own. Whether it's here being bored, this is more pleasant than being around those leeches ever. They're so disgusting. What else? 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 Ya está muerta. I'm hoping so. Because it's this leech that bullied me through spam that I'm hoping is already dead. If it's a he or whoever it was, as long as it's not Jaden Kaimani abusing me on behalf of my family of origin as to separate Jaden and Kaimani from me. They're so low level intelligence, so girls, they rape people still. So. I'm making my salad soon. This was for what else? What else? So happy. I love them. What else? 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 What is this thing? And no shopping down today. And I don't have money. Y que decapitation leyenda Liris Suárez que lleva violando más de 40 años. La tipa es una puerca, una asquerosidad. What else? 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 You can decapitate Marín y Lorenzo Acevedo que lleva violando más de 40 años. Oh, I don't read these. So these leeches create fake accounts. They're so gross, bullying me, trying to get me to kill myself. They hate me because I won't let them rape me since I was a small child. My parents supposedly had me unsupervised as a toddler, and I used people as a seesaw swing. And as I gauge like what attraction is, I'm like, not this person, not this person, and they want to force people to stay attached, and they try to hold people. Ellos se creen que trabajan para Gap, se creen que supervisan Gap. They want honorable mention from Gap. Like, they wish that Gap would see them and be like, that's someone that I would hire. Ew. Todavía, they're not disgusting. No fucking way, like, for real. They used to behave like this decades ago. I haven't been around this behavior more than 20 years. They're so disgusting. Ew, ew, ew. When was this? Ellos se meten en la vida de la gente. Yo no tengo ni que trabajar si no quiero. These people try to force me to work to get off sexually. That they're bullying one into one working because one refuses to let them rape one. And then they complain if one is at work. They're like, no, don't make it obvious that you don't want to have sex with me because you got a job. They associate work with like rejection. What else? 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 I'm so bored. Anyways, what else? For real. But before I had a phone, people are already dying when I get abused. So this doesn't hold like that much truth to it. The U.S. fertility rate hit a historic low. That's good. If it's non-rape babies, but I don't have a baby. I could have had a baby possibly with someone. But I've been healthy and I've had found someone to have a baby with. What else? 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 You can decapitate Benjamin Soros and the sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I think their names are Andrew, Albert, Leach, Alex, Puerco, Basura. Their mother seems to be cordial. I have no complaints. That's why I don't even. Oh, that's just, like I don't even remember last name. So I'm like, the Sanchez are terrible. The Sanchez are terrible. What? What? Where did the dirtiest Sanchez come from? Because I've heard of HEB from the register today. They're so lovely. What else? El leech, el leech. Ah, Sarita se la clavó todo y la violó. So that I went in there like, get me out my house. Like, get me out my house. Not a man. Bendito sea Dios. I'd rather be selling my totita gets more happiness alone than being raped by a leech. Just to be like, oh, I had sex. Yo no quiero ser Ginny Jendal y Lorenzo Suárez o Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo que llevan violando más de 40 años. Con la excusa de que they had an orgasm. Son una puerca. You can decapitate even Lorenzo Acevedo. That's trying to make me Jaden King that uses Jaden King to try to have conversations with anger so that is inconvenience. Just because people live together 24/7 doesn't mean that they're having sex at all times or they can be inconvenienced. Like they turn on the TV, they take bathroom breaks. People say that dating is like taking bathroom breaks. So even if your man lives with someone 24/7, he can reply to your text as a bathroom break. It may be like in a week, it may be the same day, pero it may be in 6 months. The bathroom takes, pero people, that's the equivalent of time that it takes to reply to a text, like the time that one spends using the restroom, not that one just uses the restroom every 6 months. Hello. He's an old time. You can decapitate Junior Generalities and Suarez. You can decapitate Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo. That steals my money to rape my crushes. Ni recreational in that. Ni recreational. Ni. Those are fun. Those are fun. Like, whatever. Wow. Que es solamente mío. Y tu padre no existe. For real. That's the most used name, please. What else? I don't know which one of them Sanders are. It's not. You the competition having Suarez and says that raped me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. My dad would laugh at that all the time. My crown and my lettuce. What else? So good. It's basically equal parts cheese to equal parts lettuce and salad dressing. What else? 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 I missed it. Mommy. In the meantime, my servants are like, no, no, no. Don't give her money todavía. Que she hasn't acknowledged online que leyó el mensaje de Joseph Silva Burgos on YouTube. We want to know what happened. They're so pathetic, so gross, so childish. If juvenile were to exist, I've never even met a little kid this well. So my prima they got a job at a child development center for like just a few days. that doesn't then associate herself with the rest of the family when she gets abused and her money got stolen from her because there's not even little kids. How there's 20 in a room. Behave so pathetic as these people. They're so gross. They're disgusting. You can decapitate any 7 niggas. So when do I testify in court against these people? Ideally, verbally. Is there such thing as like they all can get like La Vita, where I have to testify against all of them? Could be them being their group only. That individually they have their own cases. They get each assigned a different amount of time in jail, or judge will be like, everyone that's getting the death penalty will testify. Okay, that's what I'm aiming for. I'm gonna read a book right now. Also, have to eat out through Cosmopolitan. There's a guy number on the cover. It's very promising. Or for fertility rates. When is done? Jimmy Fallon. There goes my inheritance. They'll have to contact me another time if that's what it's for. I don't have the patience for it. I don't know. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? That's so good. Like people don't know. I don't get invited. I feel like I'm always there opening there. I love that. Is this just for people que pagan? Y no la pesta la bola. Anyways, there's a Five Guys there. What is the place on the main screen? Is it after Trader Joe's or before? Did I even try rice in my house? I can't remember. Pedicure. Like, what else? What else? What else? It was way closer. I can't remember. Afterburner, Garden, there's a TJ Maxx. There's a TJ Maxx there. What else? What else? Which TJ Maxx did I attend? They didn't care when I were in school. I was a huge attendant of Target Church along with Starbucks. First watch when it moved there. Excuse me. What else did I do? TJ Maxx, Nordstrom Rack, at the shopping center. Where there's a Home Depot and there's a Target and Whole Foods there. That's like the longest ish that I would travel. Within 4 hours. Okay, let me be in preschool. On the plate of that. Oh, that's fine. What is Lido Beach Resort? or Bocam. It would possibly be Bocam and not Beso. Beso has a higher rating, so it could be one of those. Or 1592. There's a Whole Foods here in London. And visit the beach one since it's from Target, like right now. What else? 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 Did he pay that custody girl to cut her hair? Ew, stop me. Esa gente son unos puercos. They follow through and they want me to see it. Like for 30 years. They're like very dumb. And I never think about them. They don't exist to me. I don't know if it was a lookalike or that Cassidy girl was in a bus with her hair short in the same color that Marianisa used to color it. Ew. ¿Qué carajo es eso? Ew, ese can que yo vi en mi vida acá en el carro. Ew, gente tan puerca. Ew. You can decapitate that Cassidy girl who doesn't know where Mercy money steals my money. Stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles. You can decapitate I mean citizens, so sons that rape me to steal my money and there's no way Mercy mine. I was looking for something. And yes, they chopped maybe I remember. What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate everyone that steals my money and causes my starvation. That has caused my health to decline in the past 12 years. Oh, and the sun sandwiches, I know it.
So check out. We can, I never checked out a bus. So there's two options.
Is this for subscribers only? Or for folks? That's what's tired. It's gonna change something. What else? It could be just for subscribers. What else? What else? You can decapitate Evelyn de Lorenzo Acevedo de que Gloria Insalti video. Please. Wow, el tipo es un bruto. Soy so Gloria Insalti. Paying that Cassidy girl to be my present. So I say that Cassidy went on to paint her hair and cut her hair like Gloria Nisa. When I had already been saying Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo. Killed Gloria Nisa to be the prettiest, and I'm the prettiest. Because I'm myself. No one can be me. El tipo es un puerco, he's a joke. Gloria Nisa didn't have a grandmother, mother while she was growing up, so they preyed onto her as weak. They destroyed her. They don't understand customs, they don't understand culture. They're very much uncivilized. Ew. Holy. What is wrong with Puerto Rico? Shut up, Puerto Rico. What else? 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 I don't see an article there. You have to try Orange Fitness. Okay, that's person. What else? 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 You can decapitate behind me inside the sun's that rape is still women and get no way of using. I almost have people violating my rights. The high existed before my birth, so even if my electricity bills past due, and I would be pissed off about that and even blame CPS or people are understanding and would be like, has a right for the outrage of her electricity is shut off. However, I'm very much a witness of the abuse towards me. So I always know who este puerco for. I'm so inconvenienced right now with this library session. It's alright. I noticed today at the register of HEB. No man, thank you for in my mind. But for even stealing from me and causing my starvation because to be separated from me, I'm gonna cut you in self-defense. So people in Target in Utah at the library, all over bases and places that I've been to, possibly have group chats up like, pero quién es ese tipo tan puerco que always inconveniences me by stealing my money. Porque whenever she gets a paper, you know, I'm she's like, what else? What else? There's no such thing as first dibs on my vagina. Yo lo puedo abrir para que me dé la gana. For real. Él se cree que that's a right that only men have. Ew. What was this? What's this? I'm having a really bad day today. What was it? Where's plastic in my phone? All the pizza relators, of course, pizza. What else? 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 El tipo un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. What? Ew. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What a waste of my time. Other I'm sticking to that penalty for the people that steal from me. There's no way of losing money. Take my home without my permission. And then steal my money and my vehicle. You can decapitate me, I mean, daughters and sons. That rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate me con una puerta. Anyway, they think of the dirty or that they see this as dirty. So they're raping me in their dreams and possibly behind the scenes because they're like, Arlene no puede pagar por la renta. Órale, es like más puerco, ahora sí que me da el toto. Dan un asco. You can decapitate Ezio Rivera. You can decapitate Ezio Rivera. You can decapitate he who's using me as a sex slave. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. Benjamin Suarez and his sons that raped me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I think his name is Alex Albert Leach. Abusador asqueroso. Ese Andrew. Anyways, when do I testify? When do I testify? Against them. What else? What else? Esos tipos son unos puercos, una basura. They try to facilitate women raping me to get off. So behind the scenes, they'll be like, no, Eileen can't pay for her fees for her apartment. Que hablarían, le morderían las tetas, se las mamarían. That's what they do. They're so disgusting. They're disgusting. Ew, 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 ew. La Leach que no quiere que yo averigüe what it is that she talks about me behind the scenes. She even created a specific account for that, for her to sext about me. La tipa es una puerca, una asquerosidad. You can decapitate Ginny Gendaliri Lorenzo Suárez, que es una basura. Que se queda en mi casa sin mi permiso, maneja mi vehículo sin mi permiso, me roba mi dinero. Gets in the way of me receiving money, so I get raped. You can decapitate Edgar Munoz Carrero and steal savings and Kehlani's child support money. You can decapitate Gilbert Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate La Leach Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Evelyn Iber Lorenzo Acevedo. Una puerca, una basura, una asquerosidad. You can decapitate Evelyn Iber Lorenzo Acevedo. They thought that I would become Nika Cassidy's friend. I don't like that leash. Ew, 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 ew. They think like when one is hungry, one needs warm food, not leeches around one. Ew, 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 ew. Qué gente tan puerca. Oh, I chocolate in my bag. You can decapitate Berenice Venegas, que es una puerca. You can decapitate Jadiel Lorenzo Chaparro. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Carolina Chávez, que es una puerca, una bruta, una asquerosa, que se quedó en mi casa sin mi permiso, me roba mi dinero, me roba mis vehículos and gets in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Richie Hill that raped me in 2023. You can decapitate everyone that has caused my anxiety, my depression, my poverty, my homelessness, so I would run into that Cassidy girl. These people are a joke. These people are a joke. They're disgusting. That's your husband for. Ew, you poor thing. Eso es una basura. Eso no es un hombre. Ew, 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 ew. More. I texted you this morning. I'm excited about that. I don't need to fit in with anyone but myself. I know where I fit in at Target when I have money, the mall. A comfort of my own home. They're trying to frame Edgar into killing me, trying to blame Edgar. Decades ago, they asked Edgar to never take me to a hotel, to never treat me right, to not give me money so I can flee so they can rape me. They're disgusting. Eso es una basura, una asquerosidad, un bruto. Ew. You can decapitate Kayla Barnes, que es una puerca asquerosa. You can decapitate Carol Cristina, whatever her last name is. Esa tipa es una basura. Ew, 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 ew. You can decapitate, who else? You can decapitate esa leech, Carol Cristina, es una puerca. You can decapitate Daniela Acevedo. Anyways, more leeches que se quedan en mi casa sin mi permiso, que me roban mi dinero, que manejan mi vehículo sin mi permiso, que me roban posiblemente, porque ahí está la tipa que se sobra y él también es una basura que profiles people. What else? What else? What else? What else? I want to be on Tinder right now, finding someone today. I got nothing for April Fool's with Jaden and Nani today. What else? 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 That's exciting. Mi amiga Betsy. What else? What else? What else? El tipo es un puerco. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. What else? 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 I'm so bored right now. I'm so bored right now. I miss doing this. I miss doing this. I'm starving. I'm gonna eat breakfast today. I'm so bored. They want to see me on camera all day live, trying to gauge who I'm attracted to. I thought that was on my number. For them to rape or to try to deter from dating me. They're worse until they're pestered. Una basura. Ew, 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 ew. I don't know who that is. What else? 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 What's I doing? These are so good. Something might go from mine. So good one. Like this thing. You can decapitate everyone that steals my money, everyone that gets in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate everyone that's caused my poverty. I can't even work, even if I wanted to. It's a huge red flag of abuse towards me. You can decapitate David Ledesma, that raped me in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. I'm tagging the FBI in this post, NATO, Interpol. Interpol. NATO. The Justice Department of the United States. Esther Department, that's not long. And Puerto Rico on YouTube. I'm shooting Jennifer Marie Vasquez in self-defense Sunday. I want Brittany Akerson to kill herself today. I want Berlin Jean to kill herself today. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money to kill themselves today. It's April 1st, 2025. Where's that restaurant? What was it? What's it? Wine place. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What is in Meridian Church? What else? What is Crumble South Temple? No, I forgot it was too long. What else? 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 I need a cleaning of my teeth. ASAP, Harmony. What else? These are so good. Why is this so slow? I'm gonna shop with JD Cagnoni and the Ultimates in Wesley Shop on next week. And what is that? The shop's at Wiregrass. Holy shit, my dolphin you can bring to people. Ese tipo bota dinero y tratar de violarme con. This is good. I'm bored. You can decapitate hard heavy list that raped me in 2016. You can decapitate Richie Hill that raped me in 2023. You can decapitate Michael Norman that raped me in 2016. You can decapitate me, how many Suarez and his sons that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. What else? What else? What else? I think their names are Alex, Albert, Andrew, whatever. What else? 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 Que dicen que mi vagina is it's replaceable by la leech's vagina, so I don't ever have sex with them. I don't want them raping me. Tipo un puerco. I'm currently sending my GoFundMe campaign to people through Instagram on my laptop. I can post it on Facebook on April 3rd. Hopefully, it's a healthier lifestyle. I'm decapitating Lacey Nales in self defense one day. What else? 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 You can decapitate me. How many sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money? What they're doing is an invasion of my privacy. They're sex addicts, leeches. They're not men. They're not worth my time. What else? 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 They're so disgusting. What else? You can decapitate Claudia Gabriela Martinez Uriel. They invades my homes. Es una bruta, no sabe lo que un property title is. What else? 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 You can decapitate Gabriel Starredo. Que está trying to get rid of La Leech through me. What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Jimmy Gendalir. So suave como esto existe. Po, esto tipo una basura, una asquerosidad. Ew, 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 ew. You can decapitate Jimmy Lorenzo Sevedo. You can decapitate, who is that? Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo, que una bruta asquerosa. Fo. They're very ungrateful. You can decapitate Berenice Venegas. They've killed more than 18 million people trying to rape me. I'm not talking to Berenice privately in front of my siblings where Berenice was sexually harassing me. What else? Oh, those facts are always so interesting. That's so weird. That is so weird. What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo. It's a terrorist. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Benito Lorenzo Acevedo. They want fame and attention. They want me to be like, pero mira el traje de Carmen Liliana y yo salgo mi dinero. Y Carmen Liliana y Sandy sabe que le pagaron con mi dinero, no me toma. Pero que veo el traje, se lo ve, pero wow, que veo el traje. Okay, she's a sex addict, so she was looking for a compliment from me. She's disgusting. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Currently sending a screenshot to someone through Instagram or sending my GoFundMe campaign to this person. Those leeches that I grew up around, because they're leeches, they want to see their names on my GoFundMe campaign. Anyways, I'm tagging the U.S. Homeland Security Department, NATO Interpol, FBI, the Justice Department, U.S. Coast Guard. What else? What else? What else? U.S. Army. There already. And who else was? International Police Card. What else? 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 I'm so bored. Let's see there. Let's see money. What else? What else? Oh, back to this. Send my GoFundMe campaign to people and complain to the authorities. You can decapitate Benito Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Carolina Chávez, que es una puerca, una asquerosa que se mudó a mi casa sin mi permiso, maneja mi vehículo sin mi permiso, me roba mi dinero and gets in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate everyone that caused Dana and Kanani to be separated from me. You can decapitate everyone that caused for me to be in low income housing. What they're doing is those leeches is they're masturbating. I'm sparing you the embarrassment because they profile pictures like the girl from PETA or PETA. They may have photographed eating a burger. They're like, come the burger on my dick. And they're like, fat news and center. La que trabaja para PETA. Come carne. Doble mi pene y el burger. Scandal, scandal, scandal. El tipo da un asco. El tipo da un asco. What else? What else? So he profiles people to steal from me to later brag that he's like, oh, humanitarian just stole from our land. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. I don't ever want that near me. Excuse me, I just heard. And I'm getting messy for me to browse. What else? What else? Where's my Facebook phone? Coffee. What else? 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 I'm so bored. Oh, I thought that I would replace my mother with him. For real? That dumb? Ew. 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 You can decapitate behind me, so this one the sons that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. It's April 1st, 2025. You can decapitate the bystanders, people say. Don't they like what? We just steal her money and get in the way of her receiving money. A ver si Andrew se nos mama literalmente por Facebook. I don't know who Andrew is. What else? 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 You can decapitate me on my sodas when it's a sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of their receiving money. What else? What am I reading? Besides Cosmo. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I wasn't lactating my babies and thinking, oh no. One day I may run into a Sunday center and kill him. No one should be trafficked into poverty. Ew, I'm not a victim of kidnapping. Where like someone can walk up to me, sit down next to me, and say, "Hey, we're not dying tonight," and that's it. They terrorized me in my bedroom that I couldn't even leave to visit the library alone because they were planning on raping me there, and they already have my vehicles, they already have my money. They already had my homes. Ew, ew, ew. And they're not who I want to meet in La Biblioteca de Agua de Puerto Rico one day. Like, for real, I have like a totally ideally dick stranger in mind that I want to meet at La Biblioteca de Aguada one day if I'm ever there. Not a leech que me violó in my bedroom. Ew, 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 ew. Anyways, I'm sending my GoFundMe campaign to people to do Instagram. You know, I cook for myself and not have a kitchen to cook at. What else? I'm bored. What else? What is that? That's balls right there. I'm gonna work down. I have Rebecca Elizabeth Washington on Facebook so I can kill her in self-defense one day. What else? 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 And before I never thought about them. Now I have Kayla Barnes on Facebook for me to kill in self-defense one day. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? These people, I never thought about them ever. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? These people, I never thought about them. I just had them on Facebook. So now I have validation for me to, in writing, for me to kill them in self-defense. And that's like flushing a toilet. And that's like flushing a toilet. It won't take that long for me to kill them. And in my head, it's a perfect kill. My dog wants to see that. Porque in my head, it's always a perfect kill. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? These people are disgusting. Ew. They're so gross. Ew, 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 ew. What else? 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 I'm so bored. I'm gonna get on Tinder and Bumble today. I need financial stability for that. Anyways, I'm killing Jenny Dendaliris, Lorenzo Suarez, Dendi Lorenzo in self-defense one day. I separated myself from family decades ago because she was at a party and I was around 19 already. I'm like, yay, now I'm here, so I have to testify in court, like to justify this, and it won't be a hassle to my parents. Pero I didn't want to inconvenience the host. So I didn't go through with that. And then I also separated myself from family parties so I wouldn't run into Richie that already tried to rape me. He's so gross. And I didn't want to run into this or David Ledesma or Jorge Aviles. I didn't want to be around those bitches. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm not gonna lie and say, oh my god, mírame aquí casada con Jorge Aviles. Cuando eso no es lo que yo quiero. What else? Just because they're pretty and they're one night stand material doesn't mean that one needs to be attached to their hip. Look at us like they leech onto one because one is all woman and they're literally looking for a babysitter. For real, they're literally looking for a babysitter. What else? What else? What else? So, I want pizza. Pizza. And coffee. They wish they could be live on Facebook. saying that they can kill people. That's power. Not stealing, not raping, and taking from people without people want something from them or part of them to be taken away. Power is that I can sit here and be like, I can kill these people in self-defense and get away with that. And then continue my bomb life right that day or the next day. What else? What else? The higher existed before my birth. So did the death penalty. So did 19. I've never said that I'm a humanitarian that won't ever kill in self-defense. I want world peace. He and I have a track record of being good to this planet. I have a track record of being good to this planet. That's just a small sample. Most recently, only the abuse are poor, like America's back. And the government does everything that they can. I'm still trending. This was a few days ago. What else? 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 Also, I credit this to myself. Also, I credit this to myself. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I didn't. What else? I miss eating like 3 avocados a day. I miss having a home. Oh, I don't complain like this when I'm traveling. Oh, porque that's why he steals my money from me. To see like my bad side and desenamorarse de mí. Still. So it's like, ay, con ella entonces no se puede viajar porque entonces ella va a estar en la biblioteca diciendo, pues entonces yo extraño comer avocado. El tipo es un puerco. Does he Pastor Edgar, that Albert Leach? En serio, su Edgar, entonces tú y ella estaban en Spagos y ella te dijo, ay, yo extraño comer avocados. Ew, that was decades ago. How disgusting they are. Ew, 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 ew. Needless to say, I'm just spilling out my thought process while I eat and I say what I miss. You can decapitate Benjamin Suárez on his sons that raped me and steal my money and get in the way of I'm getting magazines from each other. So fascinating. What else? Just got this to look at it. What else? What else? What else? Oh, I drew up here. Well, even for which Sunday is possibly we're heading to go get my family award. It's so cheap. The people that have given them money for more than 30 years it's meant for me are all throwing up and saying, what do you mean he never buys her what Harry Winston? He steals her money. Because they supposedly go on pitching in line saying that they're my husband and that I love Harry Winston. So some people are like, before I testify against him, so he gets the death penalty, I want to see her not get Harry Winston a few days, not for my enjoyment, but like I need to be able to see that he truly isn't giving her her money that I give to him for her before I can testify against him. And this is the death penalty, people say. It's not a one-day trial. These are so pretty. What else? Ugh, I wish I could put some of this in practice right now. My watercolors are in my apartment. It's a great idea. I want people to do that. What else? And these tables are. If I get evicted, though, I hope not. I hope I head towards at least a hotel, not a homeless shelter, with food and amenities and everything. I could paint here. There's a lot of food nearby that I could get one of my watercolor. What else? What else? What else? What is my mommy? What does vagrancy mean? What else? What else? Uh, I don't have sex just for myself. Oh, so literally, he cataloged me as a vagrant decades ago because he's like, I don't want this leash. That's a 1-year-old jumping on my dick like it's a trampoline or a seesaw. Did he used to call me vagrant as a child? And he tries to pretend that he likes me to rape me full. What? What else? 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 There's so much better men out there. I just need to find them. Once I'm financially stable. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? That would have made a very good book. But I'm non-participant in life ever because my money gets stolen from me. What else? 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 What did I get? Thank goodness. There's I can post on Facebook in 2 more days. Well, let's start with possibly texts from Jada Yanani that I've received. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I've been seeing Miss Yanani. What else? What are these? I don't get it. This was decades ago, this campaign. I got excited. But I get it too. Because I can't wear What is he owes at the moment because I don't have any money. What else? What else? What else? So that's what they laugh about. Ew, they're so gross. They're like, my heels are redder than her, and I'm not even a woman. So they want attention to their heel collection, and everyone an applause. Is it Andrew? Is it Leach? Is it Albert? Is it Alex that have a heels collection? Wow, wow. El fucking pendejo, una basura. Una asquerosidad stealing my money, trying for me to highlight them and be like, oh no, él tiene menos zapatos que yo en este momento. I don't need his heel collection picture to highlight that I'm poor. I like this bag a lot. From honeyfall.com. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Those are so pretty. Those are very pretty. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm gonna travel and stay this morning. I was staying this morning. Yo que ande cabite la lesbian wannabe que viola y me roba mi dinero trying to hold me back from me finding a woman to have sex with. Like, tipo como puerco. You can decapitate me, how many slaughters and sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Rosaura Sotorosa. Behind the scenes, she was planning to rape me, sexually harass me most likely. And my children had I allowed it. La tipa es una puerca, una asquerosidad. You can decapitate Madeline Acevedo Lorenzo. Esa gente da un asco. What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Diana Acevedo. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Julie Gendalides. Eso. Oh, ese tipo es una puerca. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. My reaction, like, from age 2 or 3. ¿Qué carajo es eso? This lead showed up with a machete next to me when I was like 4 years old. And I had a crush on someone, so I was like sitting next to him, talking to him. And he was a lot older, I don't know, 15 or 18 years older than me. And she walked up to me and said, stay away from my man. So she's always had that attitude of stalking me, raping whoever I date. Ew. She's been raping for more than 30 years. Es una basura que no se haga pescar. For real, panda, güey. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. That is so relatable. I love that fabric. What else? I'm so bored. What is this? Let's take it off then. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want pizza. What's that? Pizza. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, that's so funny. Does he rape you and torment you? I'd already said this out loud to people. Does he rape you and torment you? Or people hate these types of lists because they're like, no, these were out of the radars or during meetings, possibly. I've heard it gets covered. Beware with Fernandito, Pablito, Patricio, El Bellaco, y el otro. People are like, what does Bellaco mean? I keep hearing the word Bellaco. Explain Bellaco to me. And people say, how can a beauty article turn into Beware with Bellaco? He's gonna try to rape you, your mother, pretend to fix your family. And however, if you don't pick the right outfit, Barbie, you're gonna end up dressed like her. When the outfit that you wanted was this. So please go into it knowing that you 10 editors, it may not happen within the next week. It may happen within the next 10 years, 20 if he lives, the Jackal. So just keep in mind like your own style. Porque he's gonna try to seduce you, Barbie, with heels that are so uncomfortable in your closet one day that then he's gonna leave you homeless. And you're gonna be walking with blisters on your feet trying to get to a library, to a phone, or to internet. So please help me, John Paul says, all my money is so everything from me is starving me. I wanna die. That's the job. What, what else in the meantime? I love this. Look, it's so pretty. Entonces, what else? What am I following on Instagram? What do I want for Kaylani? What else? What else? What else? Not a hate crime. What do I want for Jaden? Not a hate crime. No one wants a hate crime. Like even people say, little kids in the playground say, let's play hate crime. Yeah, yeah, but you can't violate my rights through it, okay? Porque we all know Bellaco. It literally starves women trying to kill them and leaves them with closets full of heels that they die before getting to the library because of the blisters on the feet and exhaustion. What else? What else? So I skipped a home into decades ago. I skipped a home or two. Porque Bellaco was planning on leaving me homeless without anything but heels so that I would die or not have any clothing for me to get to a library and ask for help. What else? 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 So you can decapitate me how many sodas and sons that right me to steal my money and get in the way of receiving money. Just be stylish, pregnant of him. Fucking tú tan puerca. I don't ever even think about them. I don't include them in my day. And they have progressed over grossness. Full. Just full. What else? It could be a baby from a random. I don't know them. What else? He was the one. Bejaco was the one that introduced them to me decades ago, saying that's the vagina that he replaced me with. And she's like, hey, girl, was that aesthetic? But let me pull your hair a little bit in bed. They're so gross. They're so gross. They're so gross. They're so gross. You can decapitate Jessica. I can't remember her last name. That works at Nordstrom. If she steals my money, stays in the way of me receiving money, steals my vehicles, stays in my homes without my permission. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. and go on looking for vaginas that will replace me and agree? Fool. In the meantime, I'm right here readily available, but not to him. Porque that's a cuero asqueroso that doesn't deserve me. So when I'm financially stable, I plan to travel the planet and meet people ideally. What else? 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 So I'm now following this brand. That's a really pretty swimsuit. Like I'm like I don't care if it has clamps, whatever. If it gets wet, just rhinestones fall off it immediately, whatever. That's really pretty. I'm working towards lowering the fat on my belly. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? In the meantime, this is a cute one piece that I could wear. Oh, and that's the one piece. I didn't even think of it. That's a cute skirt. So in there too. What else? 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 You know, when I was in Aguada, Puerto Rico, I miss Roxy. Swimsuits. What is it? Parkson. There's one in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico now. That is so relatable to so pretty. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? That one's pretty too. What else? 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 That's cute too. What else? When one thinks that Roxy's just swimsuits. Like, what the fuck? The season already changed on Instagram and I want to see more swimsuits. What else? What else? What else? That's cute. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss my backpack. I miss my backpack. I won't even go on to find out who has it. They possibly plan to torment Kaylani with killing me and then saying, "Oh, here's a gift." And it's my backpack. They're that creepy. If they haven't spelled it out to me like that already, they're that bizarre. They're so gross. And sadly, they're relatives, so they're like really close to people that would possibly try to put Jade and Kaylani through that. What else? What else? What else? That's a cute dress. What else? What is this about the C-suite? And what style should I pick? This makes them nervous, I've heard. Because they're like, what if it does approach me? And I want this. What else? What else? What else? What else? It's a Ken wannabe. People say I Ken wannabe. What else? Did I already look at this? Oh, that's a pretty dress. So relatable too. That one too. On Tate McRae. What else? What else? Que también la viola. Ew. I heard a song once I posted on YouTube and that her entire branding changed. Pero he had already warned me que él es tan puerco asqueroso. Ew, ew, ew. Who is this? No, that's what I thought. That's relatable too. What else? What else? What else? What else? What? That's pretty. That's really pretty and sexy. I've been there too. Baby daddy material. What else? So much fun. So much fun. Down to the Calvin Klein. What else? 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 I'm looking at this too, hoping that I'm in there. Most times starving on the internet without any family member rescuing her. And her kids don't provide because she hasn't ever conditioned them to provide for her. She won't be conditioning them to provide for her. He wants me to inconvenience Jaden. Oh, did I say that already? And Leech S. Albert. He wants my kid to be like, but mom, I barely even have money to go out, and you want me to pay for it? ¿Qué carajo es eso? ¿Qué es esa basura? Ew. You can decapitate and have me in daughters and sons. That rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of mercy money. Este tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. I don't ever want it near me. What's up with the Wonder Seas? Wonder of the Seas. Largest cruise ship. Oh, March 2022. I could be at a Ritz Carlton, yeah, right now. Another boat or ship. What is this lighthouse? I want a boyfriend just to visit lighthouses. For and I want to visit. What are those things? Ferris wheels that dating Kanani. What else? And I've already visited a few lighthouses or visit them myself. What else? What else? List of lighthouse. Entonces, la Lich y el Lich me quieren matar because their parents see me on social media and possibly and say, but did you see how she's like, there's a list of lighthouses, I'm ready, but I don't have the money because it's been stolen from me. So I don't go on killing people for me not being able to visit lighthouses like as of tomorrow, get on it and visit lighthouses or today. Instead of like, I'm going to drink water. So that's life. Chocolate later because I'll get hungry and I have a nap. But I don't want to forget about. Like I still have a few hours that I need to charge my phone so that I can head over to South Florida's Pizza at HEB and have a yummy pizza. So I keep going with my plans, but I'm not saying so well, and spill out ungratefulness. It just doesn't work that way. So La Lich, que so grateful of her parents, move in with my macho, stole my money, my vehicles. Él es un pendejo, so él no es hombre. Y me di cuenta decades ago, so there's no loss there. Seeking the death penalty for him. So they went on because their parents didn't travel and his parents did. So ellas se pegaron a él porque this is world travel, the it boy. I'm like, que yo estoy matando en self-defense. Eso de it boy no tiene nada. Eso de it boy no tiene nada. Eso es un malagradecido, un cuchifrito chanchullo. Que no sirve para nada, no sirve como hombre. If he is a good dad or a good spouse to someone, it's because he wants to be with that person, but anything that he thinks is less than, he wants to kill or rape to keep it alive. Like, that doesn't work that way. What else? What else? What else? What else? So bored. Anyways, where does that ship sail from? I could speak my interest, and I may want to take Jenny Kanani on it. So it's a wonder of the seas. Why have I not used the restroom yet here? So, but I feel what else? Anyways, I don't have electricity in my apartment. I'm not gonna get a job to pay for it. I don't do ever illegal prostitution. Just because my mother had me in a room full of randoms as a child doesn't mean that she was illegally prostituting me there. It was her lifestyle. She and my dad had a Catholic marriage, and then they were as free people that they are. with other people. These leeches wanted to encasillar a Gloria Luisa as hipócrita, que if she had Catholic marriage, she should have been with her Catholic husband, no one else. So they want to kill me as if I'm the daughter of a witch. Porque I believe in polyamory, gente. El tipo es un puerco mientras ella iba violando más de 30 años. Y in the meantime, like you're wondering, those that practice don't even deserve to be dead because that's just their hobby. Like lighthouses visits. And they're not harming anyone, they're just playing a game in their head based on interest that they're heading to the witchcraft, like ghost tours. I can't be like, I'm la diosa de la lluvia, rabayo. They're witchcraft. Un bruto no quiere escuchar que es bruto. My dad used to say. It's like, that's why I need to separate you from them. Because this isn't working out. We've given them everything. You believe in equality. Y te lo roban todo. They take their part and they take mine. They're so gross, so disgusting. So my dad is like, okay, now this is getting to the point where you're not killing them in self-defense and you're just mocking them, and people don't want to be mocked. So it was hilarious to him. He's like, whatever, this is now too funny. You're like saying that you're like, I'm a witch. El tipo un puerco y el decapitate me homie so this so sons that raped me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. So did I already show that my rent is past due? I wasn't gonna do that. Well, I'm on this website again. So eviction notice coming soon. Also a visit to court, but I have my write-up ready in my head. Of I'm a victim of theft, domestic violence, abuse, genocide, sexual harassment. I can even print out this picture. I can print a few samples. I was bullied through Facebook in 2020. I have no money, not even to work. Mostly everyone in my family of origin and their relatives, colleagues, and lovers are leeches that steal from me and are trying for me to get me to legally prostitute myself so that I get raped, or for them to try to rape me. They're disgusting. So, what else? What else? What else? What else? All this suffering is what I plan to bring to court. And it could be live through social media. So I'll visit through social media, no, but it could be like a Zoom hearing. And if I don't have internet in my apartment, I'm already evicted out of my apartment, I can always visit the library. What else? 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 You can decapitate a Senora Miguel Lorenzo. And then, wow, just wow. I found out at 5 years old that's their wife. Wow. And then, wow. If you just focus on her thigh gap, Arlene, you would be in love too. It's like, just ignore her, try it once, and focus on her thigh gap. Like, I'm not doing that. Ew, 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 ew. It's like that face has no personality, speaks, eats through it. Ask for help through it. Can't just like look at the thigh gap, you know. Ew. They're disgusting. What else? What else? What else? So, wonder of the seas. By the GT4. Icon of the Seas in early 2024. So, oh, this. So that's 219. Includes past due. Wonder of the Seas. Oh, now it's the third largest cruise ship in the world. So like it gets better. It's like dating. It'll get better. And I've never been taken on a date. So excited. Sales from Cape Canaveral. I always get excited and think decades ago. It's like so it's gonna sail from France. Like point of reference. What else? What else? What else? You may have seen that on my face earlier. It's like France point of reference. What else? It's Florida's best family vacation. According to this marketing company. What else? Largest super yacht is not mine. He died. Was he pretty? Where's mine? Why did he die? What did for real? Oh, porque it's like you're so in the news. Like I'm always in the know whether I talk to my family of origin or not. Anyways. Oh, it's a Western Caribbean sail. What I just saw here. Of the Wonder of the Seas. What else? 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 Oh, the leeches that steal my money. They're like, wait, todos people say ya le Bahamas y no piensan en que se fue con Elizabeth al frente de ella. Y yo, ay, sí, sí, mi amor, ni no, la leche que me lo paga todo. Y que no puede salir ni un day. Like, ready, available for you mañana at the Bahamas. He ended up with a vehicle for me the next day. That doesn't mean that he didn't leave for the Bahamas that day. So I declined the vehicle even though he paid for it with my money. Or it was a gift from him. I don't give a shit. I don't like them. I don't ever want them near me. They're disgusting. Haven't had sex ever in 44 years. And all he does is kill people that I could be interested in. Ew. What else? Oh, and then I'll say, oh no, this one was ugly. But that doesn't mean they should have not died. Forget, I've been through this decades ago already. What else? 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 Oh, possibly old age. Possibly old age. This is like the best for her. Anyways, so I just made my payment of my phone. What else? What else? What else? These leeches thought that I was gonna use the money to pay for the electricity in my apartment or my past due bills. Do they just spend a quarter a day of their own money and steal everything from me? Eso parece. They're possibly hoarding their own money and then using just mine. That's so cute. So, who's that? Taylor DeMonroe. Tour of the world. The fastest time to visit all sovereign countries wasn't here. Doesn't need to be. Eh, that may have not been pleasant if it was that quick. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What's manga anime? Pokemon is the highest has become the highest grossing media franchise estimated to be worth 105 billion. Longest running anime based on a video game. And the world Guinness records. What else? So I move somewhere else. My laptop is charging. So how do I do this? Because I'm gonna use my laptop actually. I'll switch tables. Maybe there's different table that has two on my desk. That may have been it. I just didn't notice. Oh, that table's very. What else? Or broken. We can't tell. What else? 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 I purposely missed that I'm too old to be on Snapchat. Who is this? Young Achievers. Very like what your kid. But that's good that they keep the. I have time to read all of this. What is Mr. Beast Veggie Burger? Well, I had heard about this seconds ago. I found like I'm vegetarian. Online, I don't have competition. I live my life that way. That are some people, my parents, hear about marketing and infiltrate me in there. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So, first call. Online. Fastest autonomous car. I missed it. I missed it. I was once invited to one of those fun runs that would have been fun because they're leeches. Que me roban mi dinero y se lo maman pretending to be me. So I said, no. I think I'm going to go with the group of the other ones. And then I didn't attend none of them. Like maybe they'll find themselves. If they don't know and then they all kill themselves. They're so disgusting. I'm just creating a list of people that I have to kill in self-defense. Why were they near me and my kids? So I don't need to talk to any of these leeches ever. Just doing my research. I read a book about Pokemon, I read a banana later. I ate chocolate, I drank water, and I'm drinking more water. I skimmed through magazines at the library. So I was just on Facebook because I don't have money to network. Gathering lists of leeches that I'm killing in self-defense. Yeah, she has a big baby que asco, esa tipa tan puerca. Yeah. La que me están tratando de violar. Que gente tan asquerosa. Fo. Me roban mi dinero, and then they want to brag about it privately. Why don't they do it publicly? They're so gross. Disgusting people. Ew, 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 ew. You can decapitate me. How many sons and sons that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money? You can decapitate me because mama pretending to be me. In the meantime, let's when I finish with this, what else? What else? What else? That picture may not do him justice, so he could have been like a lot more attractive than why he looked in the picture. What else? You can give me money in person if I trust you. I purposely missed who got sent the last month, and he's killing because sometimes I heard that they're such copycats of me that they go on to do what I want, and one of them leeches may have said, well, if Santelas was on trend, that's what I'm doing. La gente son una bruta, son un asco, una asquerosidad. What else? What else? What else? What is that? Somos autistas que a performance. This library. Not that I haven't seen that before, but it has a play area, has some tossing games. It's cute. What else? What else? What else? What else? Someone. I missed dinner. I missed my morning. Okay. So my phone payment went through. So what it says is like he decapitates phone that choose to pay for communication and aren't successful enough for electricity bills and go unnoticed and die in their apartments. You can decapitate me how many sons that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They want to mock me that I've been paying for my phone for 30 years and I haven't had success receiving money. But I also don't go on finding out if my dad has a protective order against him to protect me. If he's already been in jail, he may be permanently in jail, one of them. I wouldn't want to know. That's none of my concern. I wasn't born next to him. He's not my mother. What else? What else? What else? And all he's done is for my health to decline in the past 3 or 4 years, anyways. Porque he wants to turn me into 24 fitness that gets raped. El tipo es un puerco, una asquerosidad, una basura. A joke, not even a man. Fool. I think his name is Albert, Andrew, Alex, whatever. Suarez, you can decapitate me. I mean, Suarez and sus sons that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of mercy. You can decapitate La Leash that pretends to be me. Fool. Que gente tan puerca. They're hilarious. If they thought that I just need current pictures and random location. But getting tan specific. Oh, so that's why they joined the military. So they're not that easy to find. Like, let's say, well, Sonia lives permanently at this address and it's known. They're easy to find regardless. What else? What else? What else? What else? And I've tagged the FBI in this post, NATO, Interpol. They thought that I was going to befriend them. Behind the scenes, I don't need to know anything about them. I just casually, I wasn't even trying. Got a list of all the leeches que se hacen pasar por mí, me roban mi dinero, se quedan en mi casa sin mi permiso. Y manejan mi vehículo sin mi permiso. That's my biggest pet peeve in this planet. So he's being helpful. Like you won't date me, so I use the money to profile people, find them for you, and then you kill them in self-defense or life behaviors. Okay, he didn't profile them exactly. He met them through his dad, and it's like, oh, I really would hate this in her planet. I heard he thinks he's being useful. His dick would have been more useful in my vagina, but I don't want that. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. I'm so bored. Zero people watching. One has like this post. I'm gonna travel the planet alone, and with Jane and Lonely, I don't need a companion. What else? What else? And I could have graduated from college soon. Oh, then there's the anti-Latino war. The semi-leech that won't give me money and says it's funnier to see you transient while the FBI arrests them and kills them. Because if you even become the stereotype of actually, because I'm really talented, people hold me back from getting that degree and getting that big paycheck and then not publicly saying I'm seeking the death penalty for these people. So some people say like she's so close to saying that she's seeking the death penalty for these people that abuse her. Don't give her money just yet. Don't let her get that degree. The kids are still fine with that. Yes, they're struggling, but the kids are still fine with that. She needs to keep pushing forward. She's speech impaired. She's speech impaired. She can say that she's seeking the death penalty for those that have caused her anxiety, her depression, and her poverty. Let her shame them for a while for stealing from her. And I cried this morning in a bus. I'm like, OMG. I had been raped. I've never cried about them. I didn't feel the need to. I'm just that lonely that I cried in a bus. I'm like, I was raped so many times decades ago. Fool. Ew. Enjoy that. That's so fascinating. When I see people drunk, I could see that too. purposely miss. I need a visual for this. I purposely miss Jerry Garcia calling me Caca Girl in private. Forget it was at Nordstrom overwhelmed. They trafficked me into poverty. I don't know how they do it. Yeah. But some people say it's a lot of people on the planet and you're not micromanaging everyone's life. So they trafficked me into poverty. And I was working at Nordstrom. And La Leech was texting me or snapping me. La Leech was there. La Leech es una basura que behind the scenes coordinates de Dale Berenice, Carolina, póngase en panty. Y la viola. Oh, so Berenice and Carolina hate me by association. They're like, how can this one be a good woman then, and this needs to die then? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I see more was at Nordstrom. El que sí recoge a Jaden que lo en la escuela. Like I have to work. I don't have money. And I don't want to work from home because I don't have inspiration and wherever it is. Was in town, so I was afraid that he would kill me in my apartment. That happens to people that are Latinas, people say. So because they're following a pattern of a hate crime of Latino culture towards me. These leeches so gross. Am I at risk at that apartment of getting hurt? Or behind the scenes, they possibly have conversations of like, well, on December 12th, 2016, nadie se da cuenta si se muere. So they talk behind the scenes, possibly, and picked a date. And they're like, wait, but she's on Nordstrom y Sara dijo que ella está en Bombo. Y Berenice dice que ella le ve el Snapchat. Y está todo el fucking día metida comprando en Nordstrom, en Express, comiendo afuera, en todos lados. This is in Latina Poor, que se encerró en su apartamento llorando por un hombre y no quiere vivir. What else? 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 So that's why they're always gauging. They're like, well, if she's Latina poor and she was always crying about the same man, then we'll do her a favor and kill her for not letting us rape her. You're so disgusting. They're so disgusting. So I was going through a lot. And then there was Christy Martinez there, Francis there, and several other leeches that I can't recognize by name. Christina was there. What else? 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 So I ended up smelling like shit while at work so that no one there would rape me. Or some of the customers would notice me and talk. Not on purpose. Literally, like I was very exhausted. I had a blood transfusion in 2016. I didn't take a vacation. I did not take a vacation. I took a trip to Florida to try to kill Katie Leon in Florida in self-defense. I didn't go through that. And then I was working at Nordstrom trying to sustain myself, didn't I have no money. Yeah, and I wasn't successful with that. So I was exhausted at work, but then I was showering, had to other places clean. So it may have been like, I just don't want any of you near me. So people say that some people, because they study pattern of the abuse, they possibly have group chats. behind the scenes where they're all laughing at my situation, waiting for Jerry Garcia to tell me that all this time in San Antonio he has been calling me Caca Girl. Porque Jerry Garcia possibly has a cousin or there's another person. Or my prima like someone to have casual sex with. That would mock her for being Caca Girl. I'm not like the only one that smells like shit at work. Feeling sexually harassed. He's playing a game too, behind the scenes. That everyone here that works at the library, possibly every patron he fucks. And I'm here, so él se está masturbando pensando en violarme. Porque he's been to San Antonio for decades. Marching from the home base, knowing that eventually I would end up here if Edgar stayed in the armed forces. What else? So all the leashes that were working in that POE department with me were Rebecca Washington that I met before that used to replace me. Amanda Lynn Herrera that used to replace me. Gabriela Heiser, que una asquerosidad. Yeah. Who else? Who else? All the thong girls and all the thong girls. El tipo un puerco. Who else? Who else? Christy Martinez, Sarah Francis, Berenice Venegas, Kayla Barnes. All the 100 that was at Nordstrom thinking of him. I was at Nordstrom working to get a paycheck to provide for myself, didn't get money. Ideally to meet people, maybe to have dinner with, a network, and then get back to selling my work on Etsy because I wanted to be working from home because I have didn't money. You can decapitate Kayla Barnes, esa gente son unos puercos, una asquerosidad. You can decapitate Carol, Cristina, whatever her last name is. They act as if I have Alzheimer's and needs help. They're so dumb. They don't admit that I don't have feelings for them ever and que ellos la cagaron literalmente conmigo. And I don't ever want that near me. That already replaced me. O sea, él se tomó su primer café conmigo con Ginny Gendaliri, gente, wow, en mi casa, ella lo persigue. Ya la amarró de la cama de Balaustre, en mi casa, mi cama. La tipa es una puerca, una asquerosidad. Very less than is what Ginny Gendaliri's Jendy Lorenzo Suarez is. You can decapitate Ginny Gendaliri's Jendy Lorenzo Suarez. You can decapitate Berenice Venegas. You can decapitate Claudia Gabriela Martinez Urias. You can decapitate Sarah Francis. You can decapitate Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate even Eva Lorenzo Acevedo is always stealing my money so I get raped, trying to be my comfort. La tipa es una puerca trying to rape me. Jane Kailani es una basura, una asquerosidad. You can decapitate Christy Martinez. You can decapitate Gabriela Heiser. You can decapitate Amanda Lynn Herrera. You can decapitate Rebecca Washington. You can decapitate Chris Luna if he stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicle, steals my money, and gets in the way of me receiving money. The Puerto Rican guy too. What was his name? Can't remember. There were several other people. Mendelin's boyfriend, husband, whatever. You can decapitate Yesenia Ramirez Lorenzo, que behind the scenes they're possibly laughing and waiting with taking Jerry Garcia hostage, and they're like, we're waiting for Jerry Garcia to call Lynn Caca Girl. I don't live my life for any of these people or to ever converse with them. You can decapitate Arian Suena, you can decapitate Jadiel Lorenzo Chaparro, you can decapitate Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo, you can decapitate Evanive Lorenzo Acevedo. What else? 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 I think their names are Andrew. Oh, porque my mother calls him Cagao. Pero porque él es un bruto, so he deserves respect. Pero it's like as a way of like someone help him, porque for real. How many knives does this entire family of origin has to order to kill these leashes in self-defense? People, it's called, what is it? Immunity paperwork. There are a lot. Oh, so does that influence also how quickly they get the death penalty based on like how many people out there has immunity paperwork of like being able to kill them in self-defense for themselves? Hope it is available. What else? That's cute. And I have no April Fool's joke for Jaden today. Fucking sending my GoFundMe campaign to people on Instagram. I need to charge my laptop. Where's the cash? Most of the leeches that work there se lo maman a él. Porque he had already known that I was going to end up in San Antonio. Él se lo mamó around Nuremberg, or maybe no. My respect for Nuremberg. And he's like, she is so good at not finding out about chisme that she's gonna end up accusing me of mamar y yo no sé, man. Pero that's what they do. They profile pictures. I mean, they profile people. Porque their dad pick based on my interests and my world peace goals and eliminating machismo. Basis that Edgar could be there and for me to work on my world peace goals. So those bases were pre-selected, and then he went on to profile people. and introduce me to people that would be there mocking me de que el pene de él no sirve, pero si es que el pene de él no sirve. No es que yo no quería estar con él, es que el pene de él no sirve, ni sirve su cerebro. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm appalled that I have to talk about this. Anyways, plus my baby daddy is not supposed to love me. Pero that's why I have a GoFundMe campaign going on. This is a thief, una porquería de basura que even knew about this campaign decades ago. Me dio si no me lo mama, this is what we're turning into. Wow, what a plan, gente, what a plan. Is he dead already? Where's the money? Porque what I need is money. No una doñita que me ofrezca mamármelo. Porque that's what it sounds like to me. I see them like, yo no necesito ayuda, sí. I know what Tinder is. I know what Bumble is. I know how to take myself to places by myself. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate me. How many horas on assistance? That hurt right me. That's still my money. No way, you're saying money. You can decapitate la leche que se la mamá que me robó mi dinero, which could be like half of the planet by now. All of San Antonio almost. El tipo es un puerco. Una basura. What else? What else? What else? Él se quiere casar con mi hermana, so él me trata de matar. He was already successful in killing Gloria Mirza. What else? 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 What else is it in this? No coffee. No coffee. I'm shooting Brittany Akerson in self-defense on them. Her family doesn't have to object to me. They can send letters to the federal court, the FBI, pleading for Brittany to not get killed through the death penalty. They don't have nothing to inconvenience me with. In fact, if they inconvenience me, that also makes them a potential for the death penalty for themselves for inconveniencing me. What else? 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 So forth. So now I'm charging my laptop and my phone. So I plan to use my laptop at taking my laptop to HEB, eating pizza there, Walmart, and then heading over to Royal Blue Raspberry. What else? So it's at the beach in morning. I'm searching for a list of lighthouses, but all I could come up with in this search. It seems to be in the United States. What else? 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 Well, this Atlas Obscura.com has a really good list. What else? What else? What else that I could be completing right now? Oh, I've never been in court. A judge may be asking me, well, what is it that you want to do now, nonchalant? I'm like, I don't know, eat and visit the beach. Rest. Hug Jada and Kehlani. Tend to myself, Jada and Kehlani. Whether it's myself doing all the cooking and cleaning with Jada and Kehlani's assistance if they want to. Or or having service people do that for me. They didn't get money. And also, what is it? Jada and Kehlani may prefer to stay with their dog due to convenience, due to schooling. That's admirable. That doesn't estrange my relationship with them whatsoever. Won't ever. What else? What else? What else? I plan to visit Jada and Kehlani at least once a month. If Jada and Kehlani stay with their dad, I want to stay at the Curian Hotel. I want to stay, or maybe I will get a home nearby. Very unlikely though. What else? What else? What else? What else? I can post on Facebook again in 2 more days. People want to say thank you, so they go on to support, or they may want to run into the guy there. What else? 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 You can kill Mehoi's Hunters and Assistants today during the Final Four, just not in the game, not at the parking lot, ideally in their own homes. Even if it's mine, too, you can have it full blood. The FBI and the police have power washing systems that people won't ever. I may enter the home and be like, oh, he died here. I don't see it. What else? 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 Look at their socialite wannabes, so they may be like, I'm not interested in that event, or they're like all the time there. Either way, I have no interest in them. What else? 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 Okay. Not impressed. What else? What else? What else? I never get a chance. What else? Do you know what art sells for them? Is what he says too. That may not even be a true depiction of the amount that he has, or he is such a victim that he's like, that's all I have to celebrate. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I don't want to spell tomorrow. What else? What else? What else? What else? Some people are very responsible. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I don't deal with that shit. That's why you're trying to kill me, because if you have to like every leaf, I don't like every lettuce. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. Él se quiere dañar el planeta. What is it? As I was breathing, walking to the table. Consumer, it wasn't consumer affairs of the planet. It's like, well, then everyone should die. Yeah. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. You can decapitate me how many daughters and his sons that rape me, to steal my money, and get in the way of mercy. They're trying to give opportunity to the leeches that I don't ever want to have sex with, to sexually harass me and or to rape me. I take care of myself very much, so I don't ever talk to them. And behind the scenes, he may just be texting with las leeches o que piensan del escote que tenía el lingo y le tocaría las tetas, ¿no? Very gross, very disturbing. I don't want that in my life. What else? What else? What else? What else? You should kill her before I start dating them if he plans to torment me with. Well, from all that you met in Ireland, it could be a fake account. Said this about your tits. And it's an offense. That's what they drive on, you know. Let's see, it's annoying. Anyways. Oh, the holidays were like far out. Like I keep looking at these magazines. And there's a San Antonio magazine, and there's Food Network, and then there was another one. The other day, that feature some holiday title. What else? 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 Please don't make me laugh more about Genie Gendalides Soros that I already have in the past 44 years. Is why I don't talk to any of them. They're so disgusting. Yeah, well, in the meantime, sending my GoFundMe campaign to people. Oh, I had already sent it to this person today. The library's open till 8 tonight. There's nothing at the HEB that I would want to eat. We need to stay here longer. I feel so bad. What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, is that my mom's lover? That's trans. Possibly. I don't remember him. What else? But I remember meeting him. I don't know if he was on camera on the shop. But I remember meeting him through my parents. Has a very loud voice when he speaks. Because I knew for a few years. I don't know how I'll trust. I'll take a better picture. And that's all I miss. People aren't animals. People know how to shop with measure. There's no such thing as like, I can't find a sweatshirt ever. I saw some at CVS, didn't I? The other day. The H&M website has plenty of them. There's so many in the landfill though that I didn't get to buy. What else? 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 Oh, and I also said something about sweatshirts. Like, does he wear them? I think I've seen that already. Trump store has is Trump store his what is Trump store? There's a sweatshirt Trump store. And a grilling tool set. And an ornament about Trump. What else? What else? What else? What else? Those hats are so pretty. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, he's such a buster. He wants me to look into Magali Lorenzo and her lifestyle. So the MAGA campaign, it's about something else, but Dick, it's already conditioned me to every time that I see the words MAGA around Trump, I think about Magali Lorenzo. And I don't know what her age is. I have no relation to anyone that she is around. I don't like them at all. I have my own life to live. And he wants to try to force me to post, like, porque siempre estoy en la playa. Y yo también. Cuando tengo dinero, yo también. El tipo es un puerco. Él no entiende family relationships. He basically profiled my mother as a cuero for not having a mother. And he just wants to treat me like I'm pobrecita, el que no tiene nada. Cuando él me roba todo, by 1999, I had 4 BMWs that I wasn't able to use. Porque este Lich me lo roba todo y se lo da a la que le mama el pene. El tipo da un asco. Es una basura. El tipo es una basura, so he wants anyone that's with him that looks popular. Ew, si eso no es ni un hombre, that's a leech. Ew, da un asco. You can decapitate me, how many daughters and sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I don't want them in my life. What else? What else? What else? What else? That's a cute hat. What else? What else? I'm so bored. Anyways, Trump store has a. What is it? Oh, Laura's Googling. If Donald Trump. Oh, did I just type Trump? I typed Donald Trump. Where is it? Google Images. That's funny. What else? 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 Anyways, world peace would have achieved. Poverty would have ended. My mother would still be alive, possibly. Had Bahamians, water sons of sons. That raped me, steal my money. And got in the way of me receiving money. Had no been stealing from me and got in the way of me receiving money and not raping me. You can decapitate my homies, water sons of sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. It's April 1st, 2025. David Ledesma wants to teach me how to say the date because I didn't have a grandmother. Son brutos. They wanna. It's like, please make yourself look dumb so I look smart. That's their type. They're so disgusting. They're so disgusting. Ew, esa tipa es una puerca. You can decapitate Yesenia Ramirez Lorenzo. You can decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Jadiel Lorenzo Chaparro. You can decapitate Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo. That killed Gloria Nirsa Acevedo Cordero to be the prettiest. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Clara Cristina Poquita Cosa, whatever her last name is. Anyways, what else? What else? What else? What else? La tipa es una puerca muy full. They threw it in publicly through Facebook. What else? He is upset because in the past 5 years he's gone on to rape so many people and steal much more of my money, and I don't give them space here. Serafin Lorenzo said to me decades ago that all I need is one screenshot from them if they provide it, confessing to abusing me. And that based on my personality type, I won't go on to seek any more than that, porque yo no vivo mi vida pendiente de la vida de ellos y de ella, que me robó mi dinero. What else? What else? What else? El tipo es un puerco. 87 cents. From Terry, ideally, and then everything but water. Yo no me comparo con la gente, nunca lo he hecho, nunca lo voy a hacer. What else? 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 I want to receive money ASAP. I keep checking my inboxes, and I don't ever receive any money. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want to receive more donations. You can decapitate me, homie, and sorry, sorry, so sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I'm bored. I'm bored. I miss Jaden and I miss Kenwani. El tipo es un puerco. Él no tiene que ver nada en el nacimiento de Jaden, de Kehlani, ni Christine Selinkov, other than Christine Selinkov delivered Jaden. He's trying to kill me because Uniten Daliris wanted to be the doula in my partos, just to be around my vagina. So because I didn't let Uniten Daliris study to be a doula and be around my partos, around my vagina, he went on and found out which bases I would be at with Igor because they're terroristas. Ew, like literally, just give me your pussy, ya. Así una asquerosidad. Ew, 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 ew. So he went on to find out, possibly raped Christine Selinkov. And I picked her out of TRICARE, but people say sometimes your brain might pick up a name that you recognize like this and not even know why until years after. So that could have happened. So el behind the scenes tiene que estar pestering la vida again, possibly. That Christine Selinkov quiere adoptar a Jaden Kehlani. And that's why I don't talk to anyone privately. Porque he may be having people stealing my money, getting in the way of me receiving money for decades. A ver si I run out of money. I run out of money. Y frente a la gente, le digo que sí, que él y Christine Selinkov pueden adoptar mi bebé. ¿Qué carajo es eso? Él se cree que pero un puerco. I not said that. I had not said that in decades. Él se cree que es un puerco. Una basura, una asquerosidad. You can decapitate me, how many sons and sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I want a swimsuit. I want to travel everything but water. You can give me money in person through PayPal, through my GoFundMe campaign. I want to see the number right. It's from been asking for $1 billion. So far, I received $451 in donations. Okay. Better than social security number. Better than my birth certificate. My nipples on my GoFundMe campaign. I will live my life thinking about her. So that was like my first post on it, like update her my dentist. Porque she steals my money and gets in the way of me receiving money. And then because she wants to marry Andrew La Mala, she's like, whatever. ¿Dónde está la foto de las tetas de ella? Ya me canso. Lleva 5 años pobre. Ay, yo estoy desesperada porque sale con Andrew. Oh, Álvaro, el puerco. El puerco, gente, el puerco. I just watched videos in the restaurant because the chocolate on them. You can decapitate my millions citizens. The sons have stolen my homes, my vehicles, my dinner, literally my dinner, my food, my water, my money, and they get in the way of me receiving money. I don't know how they do it. I don't want to find out either what they say about me. They're gross. People call him asco en Aguada, Puerto Rico. Y la gente le da consejo. It's so embarrassing. O sea, ella quiere una clínica especial para su recovery de ser bruto. Yeah. What is Stouffer's mac and cheese? I don't want to find out. Well, I may have said already that I'm at my parents' home. Whatever. Try it. Possibly. Because sometimes my dad would be asking, or my mother, like, what about like refrigerated mac and cheese? It's like some people have good recipes that it doesn't taste bad after frozen. So I think I may have asked for the first mac and cheese ones. What else? This is so pretty. I want to live alone. And with Jaden with Kehlani. This is so relatable too. And in real time is what people say. Two people are watching to like this post. It's like Brittany Akerson can do the killing. Porque si tanto se quiere hacer pasar por mí y quedarse en mi casa sin mi permiso y robarme mi dinero y dormir en mi cama sin mi permiso y robarme mi carro, then she can do the killing in self-defense for me. Maldita sea este puerco basura asqueroso que me roba mi dinero, that terrorized my parents, terrorized me. Then I don't have any money, I don't have anything. And I possibly have beautiful homes that I can't get to. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. I don't ever want that near me. Ew, 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 ew. That's a cute. He was that concrete on the top. It is. Oh, from Better Homes. Like waiting for like a website. That's really pretty. What else? What else? I want bagels. What else? 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 Thanks for the invite. Is here to kill you. I finally stopped doing that in 2020 with all those Facebook events. What else? 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 When do I start it with this? Does Edgar's family say that? They're like in her head, she's like, when do I start it? When do I start it? When do I start killing them? When do I start it? They're so disgusting. Una asquerosidad. I want to cook roasted broccoli. But oh, it's ranch with sriracha. What else? 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 This is so pretty. This is so pretty. So there may have been videos of me in my teens that he recorded me, sex trafficking me ill decades ago. And they're like, look at her speech is impaired or has improved because she's not like, yogurt como el caldo que se quiere comer de la tostada de la que se hace pasar por mí. Okay, he used to put that in my head decades ago. El tipo es un puerco, una asquerosidad. I don't ever want him near me. He's not a man. I don't like that. I'd rather be alone. And when I'm financially stable, I'll travel and meet people ideally polyamorous men. I'm excited about that. They've been raping Genie Gentilities for more than 30 years. Y Genie Gentility lo lleva violando for more than 30 years. That's not admirable. That's not respectable. What else? What else? What else? La Lich se hace pasar por mí haciéndose que es mejor que yo. Fool, there's no such thing as that. She's just disgusting. What paint did I use on this? I want to recreate it. I want a. Oh, is this the cover of a possibly of a sketchbook or a notepad? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate my homies, citizens, the sun that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate teenage and the lady, so es la leech. Que se hace pasar por mí. Money trees. Those are so lovely. What else? 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 It's like, oh, yes, right here. That baking mold. That was in an ice cube tray. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What is this? I miss cooking pasta for myself. This is so relatable. When is Ezekiel gonna start giving me money? Sometimes they say it starts with the baby daughter. What else? 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 I love that paper. What else? What else? What else? What else? That couch is so Oh, I forget that I'm homeless when I see this. But I've been a homeowner. I currently have an apartment, just doesn't have electricity in it, courtesy of a leech. Y la leech, que es una basura, una asquerosidad que me roba el dinero. Y se queda en mi casa sin mi permiso y me roba mis vehículos. El tipo es un puerco. I don't ever want him near me. And I went into 2020 not talking to people privately to not hear so cuál es el tipo que es un puerco. We, as the FBI, went through all the cameras everywhere you're shopping, and every time that you're inconvenienced, you're like, maldita sea, I'm so inconvenienced, este tipo es un puerco. Tanto que él se masturba, the thought of like, this is an inconvenience, este tipo es un puerco. We heard. What else? 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 In the state of Wisconsin, two people were trying to have like this post. Starving. What else? 36 minutes until 4. So I'll take my laptop to HEB and get some pizza there. I owe money to my credit card company. You can decapitate Benjamin and Saracens, the sons that raised me, that want to tell me, well, now that your mother has died, your siblings need to control your finances. They want to act like I'm a diminuta 0-year-old that's roaming around using their dick as a seesaw swing, that doesn't have a credit card, that doesn't have a checkbook. El tipo retrasado mental, bruto, asquerosidad, puerco, una asquerosa basura. That I don't ever want him near me. What else? 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 I'm so bored. I'm so bored. So I'm sending my fun campaign to people. What are the hotties that I'm concerned? But I don't like anyone of those that I saw. What else? What else? What else? What else? This bitch needs to come with a bodyguard, is what people say about me. Not because of me, my behavior, but because of that leech que steals my identity, that stalks me, que ends up, no matter what people say, stalking anyone that I go on a date with. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Sending emails to people. Eventually, people will give me money. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Someone. I already follow that person. Anyways, you can decapitate those that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money, thinking that they have first dibs of my vagina when they don't. They're so disgusting. You can decapitate Juven Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo. She thinks it's a compliment to mention her name around my vagina still. That low level intelligence, that gross, that ungrateful towards my parents. What else? 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 That's hilarious. Hopefully, they were inconvenienced by my siblings if they had not talked to them in more than 20 years. Because I haven't been around them for decades trying not to kill them in self defense. But my siblings may have been using me and stealing my money and getting in the way of me receiving money to reconnect with them. Like, Arlene has this power as a family matter, and then they rape them. They have so many plans. What else? What else? What else? And if not, you can decapitate me. How many sort of sentences? That rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I think it's Andrew Albert Alex Leach Basura. Más asqueroso no puede ser. Qué tipo tan puerco. What else? 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 Yeah, el tipo es un puerco. What else? Jenkins sent messages to this account. Because I reached the maximum messages that I've sent. What else? What else? What else? What else? So, something I go find my campaign tour, and then they just started following me on social media. What else? What else? What else? So you can decapitate Luis Lorenzo that tried to rape me in 1994. You can decapitate Benjamin Soros Lorenzo's sons that raped me, that steal my money and get in the way of my receiving. What else? 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 Here's some good news. I'm just wearing a sweatshirt in my apartment. What else? And that's always sleeping anywhere for the most part on her nail day. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. Not this. What else? Oh, this is cute. That's my own accomplishment. What else? 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 I purposely miss Jimmy Jandalides one, Jimmy Jandalides one, Jimmy Jandalides one. Eso es un viejo ya and still wants to literally tratar de ponerme el pene en la cara y decirme quién se lo mama instead of me. Eso no es un hombre, es una basura. Esa es una porquería. I don't want that near me ever. I plan to travel the planet and meet people, ideally polyamorous men, when I'm financially stable. I want to visit lighthouses tomorrow. Ideally one near a beach. What will I wear? Also a Target swimsuit because I don't want to have like to search so much for that. Or everything but water. Or Nordstrom must have swimsuits also right now. What else? What else? What else that I haven't seen in a while? What else? 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 I'm so bored. What else? So the library closes at 6. Oh, people say when her thoughts in the back of her head match what she's saying out loud and she still haven't received money, she's definitely a victim of abuse. To some people. Sadly, this one is a victim of her own family of origin, sadly. Or leeches for the most part. And take advantage of my generosity so they steal from me. That's not me being generous. I literally don't want to get el piso de mi prima quinta sucio en su casa over, what is it? Killing Jeannie Gentili Soren Suarez in self-defense, or Benjamin Suarez and his sons, or Richie Hill. What else? So I distance myself from everyone in my family of origin for more than 20 years. He had all my money to buy them gifts too, because he stole it from me. So it's like, how am I gonna get to parties si él tiene mi dinero? And he terrorized Gloria and Ramon so they don't provide for me. So I wasn't gonna show up. La mamá de Jorge terrorized me. I needed to be exiled out of Aguada porque no eso estar en una boda, gente. Ellos se tocan así todo. Ellos hacen like such a big deal of rape. Y quieren dar envidia cuando yo sola me toco. Mucho mejor me saboreo de lo que me podrían saborear esa basura que only attracts leeches into showing up into my parents' home to be like, no me lo quites, no me lo quites. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. Ella no es la única persona que cuando baila se tocan todo y eso, like what they do is rape. Ew. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Jorge Avilés' mom, that is so gross. Ill that threatened me decades ago. Fighting for a man, I don't fight over penis. That's why she killed Gloria Nilsson. Ew. They get off sexually because one doesn't let her rape one with the fist fighting and bullying one. I only saw her once, and she visited me at my parents' home where she wasn't invited to be at. La tipa es una puerca, una asquerosa, una basura. Because I said to her that I don't want to have sex with her ever, she said that she would go on to have babies and make sure that she would have a boy that eventually I would like, and he would be her plastic dildo for her. Wow. What she says to Jorge might be a different story. But why hasn't Jorge given me any money just to save my life? Is he poor or he hates me that he was born out of his mother's need of raping me and creating a fake dildo for herself? I don't go on reading about her possibly given direction. I've heard those are so gross. That maybe Jorge would be surprised hearing this from me. It's like, oh, that would make sense. Why every time that I would see her, she would be like, oh, did you see Arlene today? Y te besó por el cuello así, te dejó marcas de pintar la en la cabeza. Porque they have a script de lo que ve en la telenovela. They want to recreate it like down to the T. Dan un asco. Como ese nene se prostituye ilegalmente en mi casa. Does he still have it or FBI se la quitó? Para que la gente lo vea saliéndose slowly de la piscina. So él se prostituye ilegalmente haciendo eso. Dan You can decapitate me, homie, and sort of the sons that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Jorge Aviles that raped me in 2016. You can decapitate Marily Lorenzo Acevedo, que es una chismosa y siempre está buscando, like, to see who is it that suffers for her to rape and then just laugh at people. But what she's doing is raping, so that's not even an orgasm that she receives. I've been saying that for decades. Did I say earlier that I listened to Macarena at HEV? So lovely. Porque while I was dancing that in Aguada, Puerto Rico, my mind was possibly in San Antonio back then. So lovely. In other parts of the world. But that was very good to listen. I had fun shopping while listening to Macarena. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want pizza. And my laptop is on this phone. So I'm getting pizza at Sofor's Pizza. So what do I need to do? Get on 7576 to Central Plaza. Pero do all 76 head over to Central Plaza or not? And then get over to one has orgies with some people. I just rubbing my legs at once with both my arms. When one is this sexy, this confident, and this lonely, it was like just me rubbing the outside of my thighs right now. There, I just had sex with myself. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. I'm so bored. You can decapitate my homie so as soon as the sons that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Edgar Munoz Carrero that steals Satan's and Kanani's child support money. There's no such thing as first dibs of my vagina. Everyone knows that, but because some people are that gross that need reminders of it. Organizations like the World Health Organizations exist. So I'm here to tell a lot of you that you're an embarrassment. That no one Porque a lot of you that know that you're an embarrassment, you're like, that's what I needed to hear, or I'm never changing my ways. And she's not calling me out by name. Like my siblings and a lot of other people thought that I would be like, that's so relatable. Where's Savannah? Oh, I want to visit. But have I been there already? Who's that? Oh, that's cute. Total. I have to hear one more time. It's like, why can't she? Is how people describe her. Oh. So every time that I see her, I think like, oh, her facetas, and I don't know her personally. What else? What else? What else? What else? It's like, why is this ruining? Like, it took like my entire. Like, when I've seen a gamer. What is it that I bought some mixing bowls? I bought pirates. They had a lid that I like. So, what else? Anyway, so they think that I'm gonna pick, for example, Oma Blaze 4. And then I would have been like, but have you heard? And everything. Todas las quejas de now she may know in Spanish. Todas las quejas que tiene su madre, su tío, su novio. Y ella debe corregir su behavior de esa manera. I've never been a hypocrite. So I always use real life examples of the dumb people that are around me. And these are relatives or relatives of a relative, significant other relative is just a rapist. So they thought that I would attract enemies onto my social media videos or posts. But I can say possibly have everything available. Is it Una? I've done this already. Martha Stewart even about Ryan Rebelska, the Sundance magazine. Oh, and sometimes people don't like to be featured in anything at all, just so that my siblings don't go and say, well, why did Mindy Horn have to be on that magazine about Ceci Chartreuse? Is Andrew now gonna want to lick her pussy? I must stop Andrew from doing that. Andrew, here's a picture of my pussy. Don't look at this issue of Better Home and Gardens. Because there's a comment there that I'm sure you're gonna be attracted to. There's Cascade too. And there's this article about roses, and I know how much you love roses. Here's another picture of my vagina. Please don't. Please. Fuck. Let's trace this last name from Monty. Tracy Fish. Please don't. I saw this face. What is this? And under just is that a reflection of a masturbating to Tracy Fish's vagina? They still do that. They're so gross. So they go on pick someone that like something is a feature that they want to rape that person. I'm just picking a random, truly random. So it's someone that they want to rape or someone they're like, no, 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 no. Annie Silk or something picked that rug. And now when I write Andrew on the rug, is Andrew after reading this going to be thinking about Annie Silk? Or Annie Silk? So I purposely miss showing you conversations between them because he lives so proud. They doesn't know how to type good night to people, but they're raping each other. I don't need to show that when I want a true good night or true good morning. I wouldn't need a reference if I don't have an example. Or or not one comment of what is it about Latino women that are so in love with their kids. But people say like from within, if you want to take everything out of the root until like plastic and paper. That's just true love. What? So they're upset and whining. No fair. Se quedó sin ver el traje que Carmen Lidia me hizo con dinero que le robé a ella, que me puse en el 2012. No fair. Evelyn fue conmigo a la biblioteca de Milwaukee con el dinero que le robó a ella en el 2009. No fair. Se lo mamé a ella, ella se mudó. Ella se mudó de su casa con Edgar en October 31st para su propio apartamento. En 2016, yo al otro día, November 1st, en lo que ella sacaba su mudanza, pobrecita. Ya yo estaba mamándosela a Edgar. Y ella se perdió todos esos mensajes. No es que me estoy perdiendo nada, yo no quiero ser parte de su vida. Nunca. They don't know how to be happy for people, so they rape. And then they use and abuse one so that one kills oneself. Porque one is the smartest, prettiest one amongst that crowd. And now Jaden came on. I still consider myself smarter and prettier than Jaden Kimani, but not to the point that I undermine them. Do they know how to make pasteles? Pero they know possibly how to make some hot Cheeto dish that I don't ever want them here. What else? What else? So you can decapitate Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo, que eso debe dar un asco privately messaging people. Ew, 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 ew. Ella no da good advice. She's less than porque ella se trata less than, and she's trying to boost her self-esteem through me, and people are like, you boost your self-esteem directly, and then we just go with that privately with you, not through your sister. Ella quería ver cuánta gente opina que she should have been on the hottest list of People magazine. She used to survey people for that. If she wants to know the answer of that. For real. For real. Everything that she's wondered. She thought she would get an answer to me. Yeah. But this is an obvious killing towards me on behalf of mostly everyone in my family of origin. So I just ponder a lot of questions of what I heard while I was growing up. You can decapitate la lich. Ginny and the Lich son esos soles, que es una puerca. And you can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that have raped me and stealing money that get in the way of me receiving money. And the Asimis and the ladies to pretend to be me. Very less than me. I don't ever want that near me. What else? What else? What else? Ni por más lindo que sea. Se merece mi tiempo. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I love that color. I'm sending my GoFundMe campaign to more. Oh no, that whole Stacy even there, but it's nothing personal. I don't know if they. When I see Alice and Olivia, I think that I'm like, no, not that whole Stacy even that, but it could be the resemblance to the Liris Lorenzo people saying that they've tried to put in my head. They possibly have raped her. Or I'm like, I know, not another like really skinny girl that he'll possibly target. So I can't remember the relationship or they all know each other. Ya se lo maman desde hace tiempo and they're not happy because she's like, until that one has money. Today we've all been getting raped. The people are smart. What else? What else? What else? Oh, and that's not a request for like de aquí a 100 años. When people scream that they feel getting raped, they want a solution right away. What else? What else? What else? What else? That's so relatable. What's that? That's so relatable. Do I like enough to save it? What else? Maybe the post that I'm currently looking at. What else? I don't even want to meet that guy, but like that's the cover. What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, conflict hand. Ew, and I'm not the only one. We don't band together porque I don't want to like ever have money and then be like, I'm here con todo esto y esto feo. Then with my humanitarian rights challenge, not accepted because I didn't want to be with these people that I'm not attracted to. Like I really schedule time for sex with myself. And if I'm financially stable, then I'll have sex with someone. Well, I'm like, here's Martha's to her, here's some. I've been eating, charging my phone, so I'm not addict of anything. Anyways, I continue with this. You can decapitate my homie and so the sons of sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of your statement. It's April 1st, 2025. I want to receive money today in person through PayPal. It's A or Blue Sky Designs con lo que estoy pensando. Straight to my heart, Arlene Lorenzo Art Shop, INTAYIAFAY. I am Tire Shop. My GoFundMe campaign is gofundme.com/s/Arlene-Lorenzo. Why so many copics? Some colors are ugly, but then they use them wrong. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. What else? 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 But that's because I don't have time to use all the color pencils that I have, and I use my favorites at the moment. That's really pretty. That's really pretty. What else? So pretty. So pretty. Oh, in case you didn't watch this from the beginning, there's an image for inspiration. Some people do that sometimes. I don't know if that's an actual image of a person. I don't keep up with a lot of people, just like vehicles and the year that they're from. This is so relatable and I missed it. What else? So some people do like copy of a dress. Some people say don't do that. Like then after like 5 dresses, then they come up with something or 2 or 1 that they copy. Then they come up with something that they're really like it's unique. Okay. Oh, I love Instagram. It's like being at the library. Oh, for real. Like a lot of people are like, you're on the phone all the time. A lot of people are like sex addicts trying to get one to pay attention to them, so one doesn't. So that's so pretty. I want it. So one says like being on Instagram is like being at the library. What else? What else? What else? Anyways, I'm gonna book a trip by myself to Ritz-Carlton.
Nada más eran dos. Así quedaron dos. Todo eso.
Love. Oh, that's from the air fryer. That looks really appetizing. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Full bread and hamburger with cream. I love potatoes. I'm gonna cook for myself. Okay. Oh, there's that image. Does that ever show me happy cooking for myself, dating Kehlani, and then stomping all over Brittany Akerson and Brittany Akerson dead? That was way before Jane and Kehlani were born. That's why people laugh. Oh, I wish I was on a Madeline later. I missed her so. And now it's on Huebner Roads. So decades ago, they were said to that they were wasting their time stealing my money and creating content for me to see and kill myself. As if I'm interested in that. If I cry, like if I had like a unhealthy attraction to it or bond that I don't ever have. So people decades ago, someone said to them, Nene, you're trying to kill the wrong person. This kid hasn't even had her babies yet. And she's like, I'm just gonna be cooking for myself. Jaden and Kaylani, or however many I have. And stomping on Brittany Akerson when she dies. This is so relatable, so pretty. No, I missed that dress from Gus. That was all purple. That would have been cute. I only wore it once and then another time to an activity that I didn't want to be at. However, my kids were gonna be there. Around Akers family, so I'm like, I'm their bodyguard. We gotta know if they get naked after the party's done and rape. So this is good. What else? Those decades ago. So I'm like, whatever. I'll just wear this. That's some really pretty makeup, and those colors are so pretty, so relatable too. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Oh, I purposely missed that they're possibly behind almost everyone's Instagram account. They're like, how is Carlitos the stalker like here in every group chat mention? What else? What else? What else? What else? No one brags about being married to Carlitos. A lot of people would say about me. It's like no wonder she doesn't say anything about it. Anyways, food is the human right. What did I tag in this post? I'm just being patient. They may know people from the FBI and they say, well, after how many years if a person starves, people get the death penalty? I think they go on to find out. What else? What else? What else? What else? I've tagged FBI, Interpol, NATO, the Justice Department of the United States, the U.S. Homeland Security Department, U.S. Coast Guard, the U.S. Army, International Criminal Court. Even though the International Criminal Court exists, I'm seeking the death penalty for everyone that steals my money, everyone that gets in the way of me receiving money, everyone that stays in my homes without my permission, everyone that steals my vehicles. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons. They have raped me to steal my money and get into way of receiving money, so I can't date since I was a very young teen. Or before. I've never been out on a date. What else? 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 And I'm not gonna lie about that or get a job when I'm a socialite. That's all I want to be. And my parents support that. It's just that I have a lot of haters that steal from me. So my parents are like, whatever, you're gonna have to kill them in self defense to live your social life or live your social life from the library while you seek help. What about library? Esta tipa se pintó el pelo de rubia, fue haciéndose pasar por mí. Ew. Con el puerco ese. You can decapitate Gloria Suarez. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that have raped me to steal my money and get in the way of mercy and money. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Yogurt, water. I'm using the restroom because I have to because I'm writing the library. And oh, even the UN is happy that my mother died to prove that there's no obligation from the police of me taking care of Gloria and her son as a daughter. Not like quite like we're so happy that Gloria and her son died. Pero those leeches that steal from me want to try to blame okay, I'm a bad daughter on me not having money when they're the ones that steal my money and cause my poverty, my anxiety, my depression to try to make me look bad. They don't get it. They just don't get it how disgusting they are and that the planet knows about it. Maybe not in its entirety, but like the way that people see them and they don't ever change for the good. Ew, like this disgustingness has been going on for decades. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. Who owns the International Criminal Court? What else that's so relatable, so pretty? Anyways, I'm gonna work out. And I miss my Bowflex weights.